Hey guys, welcome to the season 2 finale. Whew, it's been an amazing season. For the last episode, we're going to be talking about who we are, who it is that God says that we are. I'm so excited to explore this topic with you guys. Stay tuned for the season 2 finale of The Spacious Place with Aundrea Besst. Welcome to The Spacious Place with Aundrea Besst. Ladies, we are in the season 2 finale. Can y'all believe it? I feel like season 2 just flew by. If you're watching the video, you'll see that I'm in a new space. I'm not in my normal podcasting recording space today, just because I felt like a different vibe. I felt just different today, so I wanted to switch it up for the season finale. It's going to be very casual today. I may have a little bit of a word, but I'm just going to let God use me today. If you can tell from the title, we're talking about who we are today. Like, what does that mean? What does that really mean? I feel like I've been getting hit over the head with this question way too many times than I'd like to admit lately. And so I just want to sit and explore what this really means and what this has begun to mean to me the past couple of months. So there have been like 2 or 3 occasions in the past 2 months that I've been faced with this question of who are you? So if you listen to the intro of the podcast, that's kind of where I go. That's where I am starting from in the podcast intro. I talk about we're here to explore the women that we were created to be, before our roles as a mom and a wife, before society, before our job roles, our career goals tell us who we are, like who were we created to be. So this has already kind of been the theme of The Spacious Place, but I think more personally, I've been faced with this question. So during the journal challenge that I hosted last month, I asked that question on one of the days. I think it was day 2. I asked the question, who are you? And I want to read the journal prompt because it's just so relevant to the question today, the conversation that we're going to have. And I want to get you guys thinking too. I want you to ask yourself, who am I? So this is what the journal prompt says. It says, who are you? And before you start thinking about the roles and titles you hold, think back, way back. Who are you? Before society, your family, your circumstances, your experiences, before they all get a chance to add anything, who are you? Think back to before you even knew you, to when you were being knit together in your mother's womb. Who are you? I believe God wanted us to start this challenge with the undeniable truth, His truth. He wants us to lay the foundation for all that's to come over the next week. And before we do that, we need to know and understand who we are. So I ask again, who are you? In today's journal entry, journal about who you believe you are at the core. And don't make it pretty. This is your opportunity to lay it out before your Father. If you feel like you've strayed away from God's truth, say that. If you don't believe God when He says you are fearfully and wonderfully made, say that. If you need God to remind you, ask Him. But be honest with yourself, and most importantly, be honest with God. He wants you to open up to Him. So I write my journal entry because I participate in the challenge too. And I believe that I've written a really open and honest journal entry. I write about the fact that God has made me bold in this season. and just who I really want him to show me that I am. I talk about anxiety, not being held down by anxiety, and not being defined by this and defined by that. And I felt like I truly did feel like I was being really honest in the journal entry, which I was. But I realized, a couple months later, so now I realized that I didn't dig as deep as I could have. So I have been working with a coach/brand strategist, and she is absolutely amazing. She's been helping me just to define my brand, define who I am as an entrepreneur and as an author, and to build and to strategize, and to help me to plan things, And so it has been really great, but it has not been easy in the least. A couple of sessions ago, she simply asked me, "Who are you?" And I'm like, really? Again, this question again? I gotta go there again. So she asked me, okay, who are you? Tell me, who is Aundrea? And so, I had to pause and think, and okay, get my thoughts together. What am I gonna say? And so I started talking about the fact that I am, a woman who uses her voice. I speak my truth. I'm not someone who wants to fit in anymore. I've had challenging times that I've had to navigate through. I'm dedicated to my family, my marriage, my children, and I'm saying all these things. And she's sharing her screen with me during this time, and she's just typing words while I'm speaking. So when I get done, I see that she's typed out 5 words. Those words were brilliant, beautiful, builder, bold, and brave. And so when I looked at the words, I'm like, wow, you got those words from what I just said to you. I don't even think I used any of those words in what I said. But she's like, yeah, you are all of these things, and I need you to begin to operate from those things, and not necessarily, and I'm paraphrasing what she said. I don't remember her exact words, but she was saying, it's amazing that you've overcome these things, that you've been able to allow God to use your trials and tribulations for His glory. She was saying that there's nothing wrong with sharing your story, speaking your truth. But she was like, if none of those things happened, if you didn't hold any of the titles, just like I mentioned in the journal prompt, if you didn't hold any of the titles, none of the roles, do you realize that you would still be beautiful, brilliant, a builder, bold, and brave? She told me, you're an amazing writer, you're creative, you are someone who can speak truth to someone and say it in a way where people receive it. But she also said, if you never wrote another blog, if you never made another video, if you decided that, today was the day that, I'm just going to not do this again, never, made another podcast, that you would still be brilliant, beautiful, builder, bold, brave. And I had to sit in that, like, for real. Because all I ever want is for God to use me, to use my voice, That was always a prayer that I prayed, actually before I had kids. Right after I got married, me and my husband were like in this space where we were newlyweds. We had just moved to a new state. My husband was in physical therapy school, and he went to Hampton University. So we moved away from our family and our friends. And so we were newlyweds. I knew no one. I had no friends in this new state. And so I had no job. I was applying for places to work. Not necessarily in my field. I'm a broadcast journalism major, so I, wasn't applying for any news reporting jobs or anything like that. No news producers. I was just applying to jobs because we needed money. And that was a space that I was in. And I always prayed, God, reveal my purpose to me. Reveal what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. I always prayed that. And after I had my daughter, I began to blog and just share my journey as a new mother, the new space that I was in, the different things that I was faced with being a new mom, and the new experiences that I had. And then I started to vlog and make YouTube videos after I had my son, and then I wrote the children's books, and there were so many things that started to happen, and I really felt like I was walking in my purpose. And sometimes even the good things that we do can start to, I guess, distract us or begin to take away from who we already were before any of that stuff, And so she said to me, if you decided not to do any of it, you would still be these things. And so I want you to begin to operate out of those things, and not necessarily out of the things that you've overcome. Although those are a part of your story and they're a part of you, they are not who you are. And I think in that moment, it was kind of freeing for me to be like, wow, I can just show up as Aundrea, not as Imani and Chase's mom, not as Ray's wife, not as a writer, a blogger, an author, a podcast host, not as any of those things. I can just show up as Aundrea and be beautiful, brilliant, a builder, be bold, be brave. If I can walk into a space, into a room, and operate as that before I even tell people my story, that's who I walk into the room as, And if you think about how powerful that is, if you think about becoming a woman who operates from that space of, when I show up, this is who I am. Before I even open my mouth to share my story, before I even open my mouth to tell you the things that I do, when I show up, this is who I am. This is who I've always been. Like, that's powerful. And to be surrounded with women who want to operate from that space, like, that's the space I want to be in, like, for real. It has really been game changing for me to know that I can just show up and be beautiful and be confident in that, and know that I am brilliant, and be confident in that, and be bold and be confident in that, And one other thing that I love that my brand strategist / coach told me, it was like, you a bad chick. And she said it just like that, which is why I love her so much. She said, you a bad chick. And you need to believe that. You need to believe that. And so I have begun to operate in that. And it's not that I'm being arrogant. It's not that, I think I'm all high and mighty. I know who created me. And I know the things that he says about me and the way that he loves me. And I just want to operate from that space. You know what I mean? Like, my God, this is what my Father has said about me. And I'm trying to operate from there. You know what I mean? So I want y'all to do the same thing. If you need to start where I started and begin to just write down the answer to that question, okay, who am I? And if you start by saying the things that you've been through, sharing the roles that you hold, the titles that you hold, the accomplishments that you've made. If you have to start there, that's where you start. But then I want you to pull out, and I want you guys to really do this. I want you to pull out 5 words that tell you who God says you are. From all of that, who is it that God says you are? And this is really not going to come from you. This is really the Holy Spirit is going to tell you who you are, because this is not something that you conjure up. You know what I mean? That's not what this is. This is God telling you, this is who I say you are. But like I said, if you have to start with, where I started with just talking or writing, if you're going to write it down. But I want you guys to do that. And then put those up on a wall. Write those in your journal, somewhere that you're going to look frequently, because you need to be reminded continuously of who you are. One of the scriptures that I love reading as I think about this question of who I am, who God says I am, is Psalm 139. Just because it's such an intimate, it shows such the intimacy that God has with us, and just the way that He knew us before we even knew ourselves, and just the care that was taken to create us. And I love that so much. Every time that I'm in a space where I am thinking about this question, or I have to be reminded of who I am and who God says that I am, I go to Psalm 139. And so I want to challenge you guys to do that too. Go to Psalm 139, read through that, let God speak to your heart about who He says you are, and write down those 5 words, or 6 or 7, or however many God gives you, honestly. And then I want you guys to start operating from there. Like, when you show up, this is who you are. Before you open your mouth, before you begin to explain to an employer or a group of women, if you're a speaker or whatever space that you fill, show up as those things. And I just pray that blesses you, because that blesses me when I think about that. It excites me to know that that's who I get to show up as. You know what I mean? And that is not just something that I say, but it's becoming who I am. And that's just exciting to me because I've never operated from that space before. And so just to know the freedom that comes from that is incredible. And I know if I feel that way, there are so many women who feel the same way. So this episode has just been amazing just for me to talk through this. Just like I said, this question of who are you has just been reverberating through my ears and has just been popping up everywhere lately. But I want to thank you guys so much for just coming along this journey with me. The season 2 finale, I really cannot believe that we are here. For those who are Spacious Place listeners but may not necessarily follow me on social media, I am 8 months pregnant right now, and so we are preparing to have our third baby, and it is like right about that time, y'all. So we are gearing up. I'll be having just some special podcast content to make sure that I'm still staying engaged with you guys, but we are really going to be preparing for baby girl, and I'm so excited about that. Y'all, it's been such an amazing season. I've been so blessed by every single guest that I've had, all of the series that we had. The Life After Loss series was such a blessing to me. It was so healing for me. The God's Not Invited series was so much fun. The episode with Jessica and Rachel Elizabeth J, and just the season as a whole has really shown me that. And also Christy, I don't want to forget Christy Lacey, who was on for the second time. She was on season 1 and season 2. But the season as a whole has just shown me how amazing it is to live in this space that is the spacious place, the space that is where we want to live, where possibilities are endless, and we can be these women who operate out of this freedom and who really operate out of the space that says, this is who God created me to be, and this is where I want to live. You know, this is where I want to live my life, in this space of freedom. So the whole series has just been such a blessing. The whole season has just been such a blessing to me, and I'm so thankful that you guys have joined me again. But for season 2, we are signing off in the way that I usually do, that my husband makes fun of me for, but I love it. Until next time, this has been The Spacious Place with Aundrea Besst.